What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Girl Who Talks Sports, the podcast where we talk sports and other girly things. I am Sam Cardona, and thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. Getting another episode out for you guys, man. I'm on a roll. This is great. So, lots of things have happened. The regular season is now over in the NFL. Black Monday was yesterday. Today is Tuesday the 11th. There's a lot of things for us to go over. I'm very excited for this episode, but before we do that, of course, guys, gotta do my plugs. Don't forget to follow and subscribe on all podcasting platforms and leave a review. Please make sure to subscribe onto the YouTube channel, The Girl Who Talks Sports. If you're watching on YouTube right now, give me a thumbs up on the video, super helpful. And guys, don't forget to follow me on social media. TGWTS Podcast on Twitter, which is a fun place. And you can follow me on Instagram and on TikTok at The Girl Who Talks Sports. And also, guys, don't forget to check out Team Clicks, the sunglasses company I'm an affiliate for. Actually, you can see here, I still have the Bills arms on one side and the Giants arms on the other. But if you guys didn't know, Team Clicks is a sunglasses company where you can represent your teams. And it's really awesome because the arms are easily removable and you can put new ones on at any point in time. So it's really awesome. Check out teamclicks.com. That's teamclicks.com/TGWTS, or use code TGWTS at checkout. There's some pretty awesome sunglasses. I would highly recommend, and they're customizable. You can make them in any way that you want. So highly recommend going to that website. All right, so what we're gonna do first. I'm looking at my my array of things I have in front of me. What we're going to do first is we are going to kind of recap the division winners. When the season started in September, I put out a video that was me predicting every single division winner. And I went back, I looked at it, kind of compared it to what the actual outcome is. Didn't do that bad. So we are going to do that real quick to see how I did. So let's get started. Division winners and division actual winners. So predicted winners and actual winners. Let's start with we'll start with one that I got wrong. How about that? We'll start with the AFC. The AFC North. I had said the Browns were going to win this division. I was fully convinced that the Browns were at the top of their game. I was convinced Baker Mayfield was going to take them to the playoffs again. Wow, was I completely and utterly wrong. But I think that my defense here is the Bengals are the ones who actually won the North. I think a lot of people were expecting the Bengals to come back a little slower. They weren't expecting Joe Burrow to come off an ACL injury and win the division, especially in his sophomore year. So I think that a lot of people weren't expecting the Bengals to be as good as they were, unless you were, which in that case, then congratulations. But I definitely thought the Browns were going to be better. I thought Pittsburgh was going to be worse. But I think that this division shocked a lot of people. So, but nonetheless, I did get it wrong. I said that the Browns were going to win, but we swept the rest of the AFC. The AFC South, I said the Titans were going to win. Here they are sitting at the number 1 seed in the playoffs with their first round bye. Good for you guys. And also, I think a lot of people said that the Colts were going to win this division, and they lost. Didn't even make it into the playoffs. Lost to the Jaguars. You're out of here, Carson Wentz. I will stand by the fact that I really don't think he's that good of a quarterback. He was at some point during that MVP caliber season, but now is now. The past is the past. So, nonetheless, the AFC South went to the Titans. The AFC East, let's go, went to the Bills, which I also predicted. Very close, though. Almost went to the Patriots, which I was considering to be not as good as they were. I wasn't even expecting them to make the playoffs. Mac Jones definitely surprised us here. But the Bills, nonetheless, came out on top and were able to beat the Jets in the last week of their season, claiming the division title. Super stoked. Love it. Back-to-back division champions. Let's see if they could be Super Bowl champions this year. God, I hope so. God, I hope so. We're also going to discuss the playoff schedule next, so don't you worry whatsoever. And finally, the AFC West is the Chiefs, and a lot of us predicted the Chiefs. I think every single preseason show I went on where we were choosing division winners, when we got to AFC West, it was, who do you think is going to be in the wild card? Nobody wanted to ask for the winner because everyone just expected it to be the Chiefs. And it is the Chiefs. However, the Chiefs definitely did not have the best season this year. I think a lot of people know that. And I was convinced that the Chargers were going to take that wild card spot. They didn't. It's the Raiders. We will get to that game, though, in this episode. I promise you that. So, AFC-wise, did pretty good. Kind of, the AFC North was a little weird and a lot tighter than a lot of people thought. So, AFC-wise, we did pretty good. NFC, however, we went 50-50. We got 2-2. So, let's jump into that. The NFC North went to the Packers. I chose the Packers, was expecting that to happen. Sitting at the number 1 seed, I think that not a lot of people chose other teams to win this division at all. So Packers did win. We picked the Packers. That was the good. The NFC South, I went with the Bucks. I think a lot of people went with the Bucks, and that one was true. But also, it wasn't a lot of competition in that division. It was kind of like, yeah, the Bucks are winning the division. It's just where they're gonna sit in the playoffs. The NFC East. I actually really don't want to talk about this. This, out of the 8 divisions, this was the pick I chose with my heart instead of my head, right? I went into this more hopeful than using facts. I will be very honest with you. I chose the Giants to win the NFC East. Clown me all you want, but I was so hopeful going in with Kadarius Toney. I was so hopeful going in with Kenny Golladay. Both players which didn't score a touchdown this year, which is in and of itself atrocious. And also, we'll be getting to the Giants in this episode as well, so stick around for that. The Cowboys obviously won the division. I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly, I did Giants, Washington, Cowboys, Eagles. So the last 2 that I put in there are the ones that actually made it to the playoffs. In my defense, I was thinking about a Washington team with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think that this team would have been completely different with Ryan Fitzpatrick as their quarterback. So, nonetheless, though, I chose with my heart. I will take the L there. The Giants are a dumpster fire that is kerosene is just getting poured on top of it, and it's only getting bigger. Finally, the NFC West. I chose the Cardinals, and I think that a lot of people will say at the time it was a pipe dream. By the end of the season, it was very close. The Cardinals could have won this division if they had won their game against the Seahawks, which the Seahawks were playing spoiler. The Seahawks were mad. They weren't going to the playoffs. So the Cardinals did not win the division. However, they were almost there, and I'd just like to say that a lot of people have been crapping on the Cardinals this offseason, and I think it's appropriate to say I told you so. I feel like that's appropriate to say. A lot of people clown me for saying that the Cardinals were going to go big or go home this year, and here they are, sitting at the playoffs, gonna go up against the Rams, which again, we'll talk about in a little bit. So the Rams are actually the ones who won the NFC West. It's, a lot of people chose the Rams. I had a lot of faith in the Cardinals. To be fair, both the Cardinals and the Rams kind of ended off on a bad note, right? They both started sliding on a decline by the end of this season. So it's going to be very interesting to see this matchup come to play. Okay. We're going to do NFC playoff games and predictions right now. This upcoming weekend. We have 6 games, not 4. We have 6 games this weekend because of the fact that there are 7 teams in the playoffs on each conference as opposed to 6. Very exciting stuff. This is the first time that this is happening. For us, it's exciting because it's more football. For us, it's exciting. It's an extra week. For the players, however, they're probably a wee bit tired. Let's start off with the AFC once again. Wild card game number 1, Chiefs versus Steelers, who snuck their way into this playoffs, and I will use the word snuck in because it was like in the night, literally in the night. So the outcome of this game is the team that's going to play the first seed Titans in the following week. Do I think the Steelers have what it takes to beat the Chiefs? No. I think that the last 2 weeks have been a farewell tour for Ben Roethlisberger. And I think that while they're riding a high, they have a great past 2 weeks. But where was that this entire season? Where was that play this entire season? And also, you were playing a crippled Browns team, really just not at all good. And you went in again with an injured Ravens team. Tyler Huntley held his own. But the Chiefs, I think, playoff Chiefs might be a little different than regular season Chiefs. I'm sure they're going in really sad that they didn't get that first round bye, and they are going to play their little hearts out to make their way through this playoff run. So out of this mix, I'm going Chiefs. It would be really exciting to see the Chiefs go out in the first round, though, since everybody has been talking about Super Bowl run. Personally, I didn't think that the Chiefs were going to make the Super Bowl again this year, but I just don't see them losing to the Steelers. Now, next is the one that will cause me the most anxiety on Saturday night. Bills-Patriots. Bills-Patriots is going to take years off of my life. They split during the season. The Patriots won during that Monday night game with the snow and the wind. It was atrocious. Mac Jones threw 2 passes. He completed 1. He threw the 3 passes, completed 2. Just an atrocious game. The Bills didn't look in that game. Come back. And I think that the Bills are very good at revenge games. I think that they come in angry and just ready to play, and they come into their games they will beat you. It's very rare that the Bills come off a loss and lose again. I think that happened 1 time this season. So here again, maybe I'm going with my heart. No, I'm not. I'm going with facts. I'm going with facts here, and I'm going with the Bills because this is now, the third time Josh Allen's getting into the playoffs, and he made it to the championship game last year. This is Mac Jones's first playoff game. Mac, you had a great season. You had a great regular season. This is postseason with a very, at this point, seasoned Bills team in the postseason. They know what's going on. And at this point, too, I've said in the past, for the last 2 years, Josh Allen is very nervous when it comes to postseason. His ego is high. His experience has gotten better. I really think that this is the postseason that Josh Allen doesn't look scared. That's just me. That's what I think. Mac Jones, you're in for a rude awakening. You're in for a rude awakening in the postseason. I know Bill has been there. Bill's been there. Bill knows how to do this. But Bill's not on the field. You can execute as much as you can coaching-wise. I really think that Mac Jones is going to have a little bit of a hard time in the postseason. You can argue, postseason college. He's been in that under that pressure, but I think that this is a little bit different. So I'm gonna go with the Bills here. I really want them to win. Again, Saturday night will be a bit rough for me. Finally, on the AFC side, we have Bengals Raiders. And with this game, the Raiders just made their way in. They just made it in. And to be quite honest with you, I really don't think the Raiders deserved a playoff spot. I don't think that they played to the best of their abilities. To be fair, they had a lot of things happen this year on their team. They had their coach have to resign due to all the emails and everything going on. They had more than one person get arrested for drunk driving, Henry Ruggs being the main story there, but then another one a couple weeks ago happened. And it's just been a bit up and down lately for the Raiders. Interim coach entering postseason again. I'm feel like they'll put up as much of a fight as they can. Um, we can make the argument though as well that that Joe Burrow, this is his first time in the playoffs as well. Second year on the team, first time in the playoffs. Now I'm kind of like thinking this through a little bit. I really want to go with the Bengals here. I really do. I think that they have, we can pull Joe Burrow's injury into the mix here. He didn't play last week. He basically crawled off the field in week 17 after the last play of that game that they won, and I just this is gonna be a good game now that I'm thinking about it. But I'll stick by my original gut feeling that the Bengals are going to win. Will the Raiders defense be a thorn in Joe Burrow's side because of their offensive line? Yes, it would be actually pretty funny if the offensive line was the demise of the Bengals, figuring that I have been talking about the Bengals offensive line since last January, basically. But I'm really hoping the Bengals pull out a win here. The Raiders, again, they're in a little bit of shambles. I don't know how Rich Bisaccia is with the postseason. But yeah, we'll go with the Bengals here, but I have a feeling that this is going to be a pretty even game in terms of, you know, who experience and who can win. I'm really mad at myself for a second here because I recorded for a little bit and I didn't press record on my camera, and I'm pretty mad at myself. So I'm about to go through this next string of games for the second time, which is very exciting. So let's get to the AFC playoff games, and I will repeat everything that I just said by myself, with nobody listening. Bucks Eagles. This game is the one. Whoever wins this game will go on to defeat the Packers. Oh my God. To play the Packers in the following week, because the Packers have the 1 seed and will not be playing. And basically here, Bucks Eagles, while I am very respecting of the Eagles and what they've been able to do this year and that they were able to get into the playoffs this year, I just don't see the Eagles beating Tom Brady. I know that they have in the past, but that was with Nicholas Foles. But Tom Brady, it's not impossible. The Titans did beat Patriots Tom Brady in the wild card, which was the big shocker. So it's not impossible, but I just don't think that the Eagles have what it takes to beat Tom Brady. Postseason Tom Brady is basically unstoppable, and that Titans Patriots game was the last Patriots game Tom Brady ever played. So I just don't think that the Eagles can do it. Will they put up a fight? Sure. They put up a fight against the Cowboys last week, but that didn't really work out though either. So yeah, I'm going with the Bucks here. The Bucks are gonna be playing the Packers. Oh God, an NFC Championship rematch. Very fun stuff. We'll get to that next week when the time comes. The next one here is Cowboys and 49ers. And the Cowboys and the 49ers is the game that I sat the longest on. That I really was like, I don't know who's going to win this game. I don't know. It's going to be weird because I keep feeling like the Cowboys are not good, but they are. They are very good. They won the division. They're doing great things. But I think that the opponents that the Cowboys played this year versus going up postseason against the 49ers is going to be something very different for them. The 49ers also started slow and worked their way up. I kind of put the 49ers pretty low for a while, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, the 49ers have been winning games. I need to give them the credit that they deserve. So I just think that the 49ers, first of all, have an excellent run game, and I think that is one of the vulnerabilities of the Cowboys defense. The Cowboys defense, first of all, has impressed me an insane amount, especially Trayvon Diggs. That like their secondary is something that's basically holding this team up. To be fair, yes, they're not always putting, sometimes they're putting points on the board, but Dak Prescott has put up 107 points in the past 2 weeks, which is very impressive. Or the Cowboys offense, rather, has put up 107 points this, which is wild. But also, they were going up against Washington and Philadelphia, two very different teams than the San Francisco 49ers. So I just think I'm going with the 49ers in this game. Part of me is saying, like, just mostly saying it because I don't want the Cowboys to win. And then the other side of me is also saying I just don't think the Cowboys can make a postseason run right now. I think that they're right there. I think that they're going to be a thorn in my side for the next couple of years. But my gut feeling is saying that the 49ers are going to run the ball. They're going to do a very good job in it. Jimmy G, despite being injured in his thumb, he came out this weekend against the Rams and was like, I got you guys. We got this. And they won. Like, it was so impressive. And I think that impressive game is what's making me lean towards the 49ers in this game. So, yeah, this is going to be a good game. Cowboys, 49ers, but we're going with the 49ers. And finally, the last game here is Rams, Cardinals. Holy guacamole, am I stressed. Rams, Cardinals also split this year, division-wise, their division games, and the Cardinals beat them early on, and I believe the Rams beat them the second time around. Both of these teams, like I was saying earlier, are, like, on this, like, weird slope down, right? Like, they both lost last week. The Rams ended up taking the division, over, despite losing, the Cardinals lost, therefore they took the division. So it's just it's gonna be a really insane game because they're division teams, and division games are always super exciting, and the fact that it's also for the postseason, I'm excited, and I don't know if I'm making the wrong choice here. I feel like I'm allowed one heart decision, like I was with the division winners from my video that I was talking about earlier. I'm gonna pick the Cardinals. I think that the Cardinals are gonna come out. I think that they're going to make a statement. I think that they are familiar with this Rams team in the way that the Rams are familiar with the Cardinals. It goes both ways. I wanna pick the Cardinals. I do. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pick the Cardinals. The Rams, weirdly enough, like, they look phenomenal, and then sometimes they just look not good at all. And now the Rams actually, this interesting stat that I've been carrying with me for such a long time is that the Rams, every time they're up at halftime, they win. And that didn't happen last week. The 49ers finally broke that streak. Sean McVay is 45-1 when leading at halftime. So it kind of, like, showed a weakness, and which I love. And the Cardinals, I want them to kind of show everybody up and be that underdog of the playoffs and come out and everybody's saying, like, yeah, Rams. And I really just want the Cardinals to come out and be like, actually, you guys forgot about us for a really long time. So here we are, and we're making a statement, and we're here, and we're going to make a playoff run. Will they make it to the Super Bowl? Don't know. But I'm gonna use my one heart pick as opposed to my head pick to pick the Cardinals in this game, and that is the games for this upcoming weekend. Woohoo! Oh my goodness, it's so freaking exciting. Before we get into the head coaches and before we get into the Giants conversation, let's just talk briefly about that Chargers-Raiders game on Sunday night. So I was watching it with my family, and as time went on, my family started getting up, going to bed. I was awake. I was working, because I work at night now. So I was up, I was working, I was watching it, and by the time when they got into overtime, I was literally just standing in my basement with the TV on, just with my hands on my hips, just staring at the TV, like, this game is gonna end in a tie. My brother, the Steelers fan, is going to wake up tomorrow. He's going to find out that his team is not in the playoffs anymore, be completely obliterated. The sports books are going to be in shambles because they would have lost millions of dollars if the Chargers and the Raiders had tied this game. And the whole thing here is that by the end of the game, the Raiders had the ball in overtime. It was tied 32-32. And the Raiders were basically going to tie the game. They were going to kneel it out. They were going to, run the clock down, and they were going to tie it. And the Chargers would have been playing the Chiefs this weekend. And the Chargers decided to take a timeout. Brandon Staley decided to take a timeout, which triggered the Las Vegas Raiders. And they said, you know what? No, just for that, we are going to win this game. They put the clock down to like 2 seconds. They brought their kicker out. Their kicker made the field goal. The Raiders are in the playoffs. The Chargers are not. And there's footage, like reading people's lips, of Austin Eckler and a Raider that I didn't know. Basically, Austin Eckler was like, "You guys, we're gonna tie," and the guy was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Damn, I can't believe that." Justin Herbert was on the sideline looking at his coach, saying, "I never wanted to tie so bad." It was just, I cannot believe that this happened. I can't believe it. First of all, I'm really just pissed off. Like I said earlier, I don't think that the Chargers, I don't think that the Raiders should have been in that wild card spot. I thought if it had to be either one of them, I wanted it to be the Chargers so bad. But nonetheless, here we are. And the fact that, people have been talking about, it was like, oh, if the Colts lose to the Jaguars, like, we'll have a kneeling bowl on Sunday Night Football. And everybody was kind of making a joke about it the whole time. And then when the statistic came out that the Colts haven't won in Jacksonville since 2014 came out, people were like, this is realistic. This is something that we can actually do and figure out. So when the Colts ended up losing, which first of all brought me immense joy, Jaguars winning that game really brought me immense joy. The fact that the Chargers and the Raiders could tie and both go to the playoffs was something that I had never in my life seen before, and I was so excited. I was so excited for this game, and they did not disappoint in terms of entertainment. Like, getting it to overtime, being tied, thinking about tying the game, it was perfect television. Absolutely perfect television. Twitter was on fire. Everybody was freaking out. My best friend, Sarah, was texting me. Her fiance is a Steelers fan. She was like, he's freaking out. I can't believe I thought this game was going to be easy, no problem. It was just absolutely chaotic mayhem that we absolutely needed to end off the regular season of the NFL. I loved it. I really did. And if the Chargers won, I would have loved it even more. But what can you do? They took that horrible timeout. It is what it is. But we won't dwell any longer on the Chargers-Raiders game because it is over. It is past. It is finished. The Raiders won. Get it. But excellent TV. Absolutely excellent TV. They even showed a Pittsburgh Steelers fan in the stadium in Vegas with his hands on his head like, please, God, don't end in a tie. This would ruin me. Excellent. Really, probably one of the same vibes this game gave me was the same vibes that the Chiefs-Rams Monday Night Football game from like 2 or 3 years ago gave me. And again, always by myself. I'm always by myself when these games are happening. Nobody's ever around to experience them with me. Okay, but nonetheless, let's get into some of the news that happened over the weekend on Black Monday. We had 4 coaches fired from the National Football Game, 2 GMs fired, 1 GM basically fired but retired, and we'll get to it. Vic Fangio was the first to go on Sunday. That happened. They didn't even wait because the Broncos played on Saturday night against the Chiefs. Should have won that game, to be honest with you. The Broncos didn't look terrible. Honestly, if the Broncos had won that game, I wouldn't be surprised if Vic Fangio still had a job. But it would have been interesting to see how he ended up if they had gotten a solid quarterback on that team. But that's what they need to do. They're going to, work on their offense, get a solid quarterback. Drew Lock, again, I feel like he's Nick Foles energy. Really good backup. Not a good starter. So they're going to get that person that they need, that quarterback that they need, hopefully a coach that can work with said quarterback, and the Broncos will figure it out. They didn't look terrible this year. Shout out to Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater really surprised me this year. I'm full-blown surprised and impressed. The Broncos really made a name for themselves this year, despite not winning the division or anything like that, but they put themselves on the map, I think. It was a pretty solid year for the Broncos. Then Black Monday rolled around. Black Monday is the day that all the coaches get fired. It's the day after the last game of the season. Two of which I was expecting to happen. Bears coach Matt Nagy and their GM Ryan Pace both fired. Again, people have been talking about this for about a year now, actually, because they were expecting him to be gone last year. It didn't happen. It is what it is. But Matt Nagy is officially gone. Justin Fields can now grow in a different environment in Chicago, where the Bears maybe can improve themselves a bit. So it'll be interesting to see who the Bears end up getting. The interviews are already in progress. They have to ask permission for the teams that are in the playoffs. But, we're in full swing here, and it's very interesting. And I'm very excited to see how this coaching hash out ends up turning up. The Vikings coach Mike Zimmer and their GM Rick Spielman both were fired. Those were Nagy and Zimmer were the two that I expected on Monday. The Vikings are not a bad team. They have a lot of talent on that team. Kirk Cousins is, I would say, like, the best average quarterback. Like, he will get the job done. Kirk Cousins will do what he needs to do to win the team. He's got Dalvin Cook in the backfield. He's got Thielen. This offense is solid, and they definitely should have won more games with the talent that they have, which is why Zimmer probably left, which is why the GM was probably fired. So those two we expected. Miami Dolphins head coach Brian Flores was the last to go, and everybody was in complete shock. I woke up late on Monday. Again, like I said, I was working nights. I didn't go to sleep until about 4 a.m. So I woke up at about 11. I had 30-something text messages from different people telling me about Brian Flores being fired. That was the last thing I was expecting. I think Brian Flores is a very good coach. I think that he, very defensive minded. We get it. Their defense was incredible. Their offense obviously needed work. Tua, obviously in the mix to need work. This was his first year completely starting for the Miami Dolphins, despite those couple of weeks that he was injured and Brissett came in. I'm a little sad. And Flores is somebody coming from that Belichick coaching tree who he's got it. And if he doesn't become a head coach, he will thrive as a coordinator. My brother wants him to end up in Pittsburgh as a defensive coordinator. I think he would fit very well there. I think he could be very good in Pittsburgh. My friend Jordan wants him to end up in Philadelphia, but she wants everyone to go to Philadelphia. But it's Brian Flores. I was not expecting whatsoever for this to happen to him. He is interviewing for the Chicago Bears job, which I think is also a very good fit in terms of head coaching. I think him and Fields could get along. I think that he could turn this team around. So it'll be very intriguing to see what happens again. But Flores going, again, I get it. You haven't been to the postseason, but they just went on a 7-game win streak. Like, that's pretty impressive coming back off of a 1-7 season. It sucks. I understand. Like, in terms of the numbers, I understand why he had to go, but I just feel like he's not a bad head coach, and I think that he's going to thrive somewhere else and have some really great future ahead of him. So, shout out to Brian Flores. The last thing that we will talk about today, and I'm not going to go on for very long because I got things to do, Dave Gettleman retired from the New York Giants, which we were expecting. We were always expecting. We've been talking about this since, November, October. We've been talking about him gone for a while. We knew he wasn't going to go. We knew he wasn't going to get fired, and that he was just going to head out on his own accord. Retired. Goodbye, Dave. Thanks for some of the draft picks that you gave us. Otherwise, it's been real. Whatever. Joe Judge is staying, as we know, as the Giants head coach. I have a lot of conflicting feelings about this. Hey guys, it's me. So obviously I look different. Same day, just later on in the evening. Joe Judge has in fact been fired. So everything I just said is this doesn't even matter. So hey, this is editing Sam. We look a little different. But yeah, so Joe Judge has been fired from the New York Giants. To be honest, I thought he wasn't going to go anywhere. I'll be real honest with you. I was expecting him to stay put after he didn't get fired on Monday. So this is like I don't know how much I'm going to show from what I had already said in my podcast about Joe Judge, but I was kind of annoyed with him. Seemed like he's losing the team, losing the locker room. Things seem to not be really working out. I was a little annoyed with him by the end of the season, but I was willing to give him a chance. So I was kind of coming to terms with it. I had come to terms with it, and then now here we are without a head coach. I'm a little nervous for next year. Daniel Jones's consistency with offensive coaches and coaches in general is non-existent at this point. So I don't know what Daniel Jones is going to look like next year unless we get some incredible offensive-minded coach who can turn Daniel Jones into a playoff quarterback. We'll see. I'm a little nervous. So new GM, new head coach. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so Joe Judge fired. And here is this is breaking news, Sam. Back to regular scheduled podcast. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Again, I could go on and on, but I do have to start work soon. And I will be putting this episode out as soon as I possibly can. But guys, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of The Girl Who Talks Sports. We are in the stretch. We have a month left of football. A month left of football, which is outrageous. I can't believe that, yesterday I was doing week 1 episode with Jordan, which is, it's crazy. So hopefully, again, I'm falling into a routine here. Hopefully I will be able to get you guys an episode for the rest of the NFL season. Again, guys, don't forget to check out Team Clicks, the sunglasses that are available at teamclicks.com. The link is in the description. Don't forget to subscribe on all podcasting platforms and leave a review. Follow and subscribe on YouTube at The Girl Who Talks Sports. Give this video a thumbs up if you're watching. And don't forget to follow me on social media at TGWTS Podcast on Twitter, The Girl Who Talks Sports on Instagram and TikTok. And guys, I hope you all have a fun, fantastic, sports-filled day. I hope you have a fun, sports-filled weekend of NFL football. And I will see you guys all next week after the first weekend of NFL playoffs. Bye!